Well, Jason Schilling is the president of the Alberta Teachers Association. He joins us right now. Mr. Schilling, thank you for the time.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
So the Alberta Premier, she was not in the legislature last night when this back to work legislation passed, but we did hear from Danielle Smith essentially saying that she was moving on this because the strike was, and this is her words, causing irreparable harm to children. What do you say to that?
Well, I know that the strike had been going on for 3 weeks, but the government had opportunities to help negotiate a settlement there that would have worked for parents and teachers and students. We had put forward some suggestions on how we can move forward to address the complexity that we're seeing in our classrooms that government just didn't want to move on, and therefore they felt it was appropriate for them, I guess, to evoke the notwithstanding clause and impose a settlement on teachers in Alberta.
Okay, can you build on that? You know, I've heard the word complexity used when describing the situation that teachers are facing in the classroom right now. But for a national audience that has not really been part of this debate day to day, what complexity was making it difficult to do your job that needed the strike action?
Well, that's a great question. In Alberta, we are the least funded school jurisdiction in all of Canada, and they have been so for about a decade. That systemic underfunding has caused a lot of cracks within the system. So we have overcrowded classrooms. We like to say 40 is the new 30 here. But you have students within those classes that might have English language learning needs. They might be refugee students who are just new to Canada that need extra support, special needs students who need one-on-one educational assistance, but we don't have those supports in the class as well. But we also have, the average student who's in there that is looking for attention that they deserve to have as well. So all of these complexities in a classroom of 30, 35 students is overwhelming for teachers to try to meet the needs of all of those students. And therefore, we keep seeing kids fall through the cracks. And teachers essentially had said, we have had enough of this. We need to do better by our students and by the people who work with them as well.
Now, the UCP government, had offered to hire 3,000 new teachers, 1,500 new EAs. How would that not have addressed the issues that you're trying to raise here?
Well, we know that when we were through negotiations that we had proposed actually a student-teacher ratio. The compromise at some point through the negotiations became hiring 3,000 new teachers to deal with some of the hot spots that we see in the province. But that's a drop in the bucket of what we need here in Alberta. We have seen a huge increase of student enrollment over the last couple of years, and government has not kept pace with hiring teachers to accommodate that. So we are the least funded in terms of funding, but we also have the highest student-teacher ratio right now in all of Canada. And government, that's part of their job is to hire people to work within the public service, and they've not been keeping pace with that. And so this promise within this negotiated or the settlement that came down yesterday is a start, but it's not enough.
Okay, listen, let's also talk about you talk about, again, this settlement that was voted on yesterday, not negotiated, put onto the union. We did hear Danielle Smith say that the issues and the concerns that you and your union have raised will not go ignored. She is striking a class size and complexity task force. She says she hopes that teachers and teachers' assistants will play a role in the work of that group. What's your reaction to that?
Well, my expectation, excuse me, my expectation would be that we don't have a role. We're a partner within that. We are dealing with classroom complexities that, not every politician in the legislature is going to understand because they're not teachers. They don't work at school. So I think it's paramount that those who are working on the front lines, teachers, educational assistants, so my colleagues from QP, would be partners on this conversation and not just people who might participate.
Now, the plan, to my understanding, is that you and your union will now look to legal alternatives to challenge the bill because, again, you are being legislated back to work. This was not negotiated. This was not even an issue that was brought to arbitration. You are basically told you have to go to work, and we're invoking the notwithstanding clause so that it cannot be challenged. So what can you do to challenge it?
Well, given that we just saw the bill be tabled late yesterday afternoon and then wasn't passed until early morning hours around 2 a.m., we still need to do some work around the analytics, how to analyze the bill and just how we're going to approach with it legally. But we will leave no stone unturned as we look at this.
And my understanding is that you're not alone in this, that the Alberta Federation of Labor also wants to respond to the bill as well. Can you walk us through what the discussions have been like on that so far?
Well, I have not been able to connect with them today. It's been a pretty busy day, but I do know that the other unions are looking to support teachers in this because we know that using the notwithstanding clause with teachers in this capacity of negotiations, that the government will then be emboldened to use it in other aspects of the public service. So AUPE, QP, the nurses, they're all watching this very, very closely, as well as private sector unions, to see just how this will play out. Because if it affects one of us, it affects all of us.
Now, as you said, you and your members have been on strike for 3 weeks now. You're now being legislated back to work. Was it worth it?
Well, I think that teachers have stood up in a way that we've not seen in this province for a long, long time. They were accused of walking out on their students, but what they really did was stand up for them. And I'm immensely proud of my colleagues in the work that they've done because they fundamentally changed the conversation on public education here in the province. We have petitions out there about private school funding that should be going to public dollar or public dollars used for private school funding. We have parents and community members who are engaged now in the conversation and will not be quiet until the government starts funding education properly in this province. And so I know a lot of my colleagues were uh, rightfully so upset, frustrated about what happened yesterday, but they have been able to change the tone of government. They've been able to push them in a way. For instance, now they're going to start collecting class size data again, which they stopped doing in 2019. That is a product of this strike. And so I think that teachers have awakened public education issues here in the province that we will not forget about for years.
Jason Schilling, thank you for this. Appreciate the time.
Yep, you bet. Thank you.